3, 2, 1, go.
Hola, Chris.
What's up, Mike?
Not a lotta
So, what are we going to talk about today?
guns.
Guns.
One of
I
my favorite
love it.
things.
I love
One of my
it.
favorite things.
All right. So we're gonna cover a lot of topics today. We're gonna let's just start. You're a gun owner, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm a gun owner. I don't hide it. Everybody knows it.
I own quite a few guns.
Mhm.
My dad owns a shit pile of guns.
So let me ask you a question. We'll go right out of the gate. Why do you own a gun?
A multitude of reasons. One of them being hunting. Hunting is super necessary for the animal populations that currently exist to continue existing in the same fashion that they do today.
So you carry a hunting rifle with you everywhere you go?
No.
Okay.
As far as safety goes,
Mhm.
well, right now I don't have a sidearm. I'm wanting to get one here real soon, but self-defense is one of the key reasons for people to hold and carry guns, especially when you live in like a city or something. You're not going to be probably doing as much hunting as someone from Montana. But as a person who's living in the city, having a gun is awfully nice for defense.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, we don't have to worry about that too much where we are here. I mean,
As much.
Missoula's pretty fucking mild.
Although, funny enough, they did have that shooting.
That's true. Yeah,
was
that
it a
cop
month
that got
ago?
shot.
Yeah, a cop got shot and stuff.
Um,
I was driving up here, and I saw like 10 cop cars surrounding a building as I was driving over
damn.
here on Johnson. It was weird. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I wonder what's going on there. They had a guy on the ground and stuff. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, I guess
mean,
it happens, I suppose.
it does.
But Missoula has it pretty easy compared to
Oh, yeah.
cities like in California and D.C. and Chicago and even Portland and
Well,
the smaller big cities.
And one of the things that's super important about guns is it keeps people who are extremely large or well skilled in just hand-to-hand combat, it keeps them from being able to push around people who aren't as physically adept.
It's the ultimate equalizer.
I was just gonna say they call the guns the great equalizer for a reason. So
yeah, you could take a 5'1", 120-pound girl and put him up against a 300-pound dude.
bitch is 565.
Yeah, guess what? She's just as strong as you are right now, buddy.
Yep.
So
super important, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely.
So the other reason that I have a gun is I want to have something to defend myself should I unlawfully be persecuted by the government.
Absolutely.
That is a key component of this whole conversation, this whole dialogue that we're having.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you look at a lot of like the anti-gun arguments that like you don't need a AR-15 to go hunt or for self-defense or whatever. I was like, it's not. Well, it's not fucking for that. It's not for hunting. I mean, you can. Don't get me wrong. But
it's true.
It's for defense. It's for I don't like the term assault rifle. It's a personal defense rifle. My rifles never have never assaulted anybody.
Nope. But personal defense, I will use them for that cause. I mean, that you gotta call it by its
NSA.
actual. I know, right? Hola. Let us know what you think of our podcast, boys. One of the things about calling it a personal defense weapon over an assault weapon is when you call it an assault weapon, you're thinking that you're using it to assault somebody, but the fact is guns actually stop more crimes than they're used in.
Yeah.
So
a gun can stop a crime without ever having to pull the trigger too.
Mm-hmm.
So
you've seen firsthand that.
Oh yeah, more than once. Yeah. But you look at I'm gonna kind of come back and talk about this again later for a different reason, but my buddy Mike, he was in downtown Portland, right? And his whole job is to go out and film events, and then he sells the videos to different news companies and whatnot. And he was filming a Black Lives Matter riot or march or whatever it was in downtown Portland, and a group of people came at him, and they had, flag poles and like bipods, or like camera tripods and flag poles and stuff, and they were getting up in his face, and they were getting ready to attack him, and he unholstered his pistol, finger never once went on the trigger.
Smart.
Pointed it at him.
He's a learned person, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. He knows what he's doing. He points it at him. They back up. Once the threat is dissipated, reholstered it.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It was not even 30 seconds, I don't think. Wow. I mean, I know it was for sure under a minute, but it was not even 30 seconds that his gun was unholstered. But, protected
Just
himself, him being in Multnomah County, unfortunately, he is the one that got arrested.
Yeah.
And charged with several crimes, which is ridiculous.
Jesus Christ. I can't believe that he's the one getting pushed by these people, and then he actually gets in trouble.
Yeah, I think they were trying to use him to set an example.
But that's fucking ridiculous. I mean,
I
it's
agree.
Stopping a crime. I mean, think of a woman who, they talk about like the rape culture and everything. A woman gets threatened of rape. If she has a gun, guaranteed that's going to prevent a lot of issues for her.
I've seen there was an anti-gun ad that went out. It was like a meme that was being shared through all the anti-gun people, and it said, rape only lasts a few seconds, but murder is forever.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you shitting me? Like, these people would rather women get raped than for them to be able to defend themselves.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think somebody tries to rape somebody, that person needs to die.
Yeah. If you're pushing for something like that, sorry, dude. You made your mistake by making the choice to pursue a woman like in such a fashion.
So that kind of leads us, let's talk about the Second Amendment, just in general, and we'll talk about it. The Second Amendment. Everybody knows that on the Bill of Rights.
Oh yeah.
We won't go into the state ones quite yet.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of difference between state and federal law.
It should really be that fucking simple. It should really be, Second Amendment, okay, gun control, done. Like, I mean, I'm talking the NFA. It should never have been a thing. Any whatsoever, any type of gun control law passed, even the smallest one, is against the Constitution.
Oh yeah,
in my opinion, and it's fact.
Let's just read the Second Amendment in all its glory firsthand.
So, a well-regulated militia.
Being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
So, here's an argument I hear all the time, though, is people say, well, look at that first part, a well-regulated. Okay, so today you think of the word regulated, right? You think government is regulating something. There's rules in place. There's regulations in place, right? But back in the time of the Bill of Rights, when it was written, the word regulated did not mean what it means today. It meant it derived from the word regular.
Yeah.
So you can't change a word's meaning and then have that whole principle just be abandoned.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, too, because you can still use regulate to mean what it used to mean back then. They just added that definition in recent times because regulations became a thing.
Right.
But it wasn't that way back in the day. So.
Okay, so let's use the old definition. So well-regulated militia. So a militia that is, it's
made regular.
It's well practiced. It's regular.
Lots of people
are involved. It's very common.
Yeah.
Okay. It's necessary for the security of a free state. And when they say state, they don't mean like Montana or Oregon the state is just it's a government is what they mean by that. So free state. So right there it has it. Necessary to the security of a free state. So we want to be free.
That's the only way that we're going to maintain our freedom.
Yep.
That's what they're talking about right there.
Oh, yeah. And then, the second half, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's pretty fucking black and white. Literally.
You can't mess with it. And people are like, oh, well, you shouldn't have access to military equipment and stuff. Why not?
No.
If the militia is to keep the government from attacking and removing the freedoms of the state, which is, our country in general, at that point, you need to have the equivalent military-grade weapon systems to be able to defend against that. And they make that not even a possibility, yet it would be possible in a perfect world, libertarian world like we talk about.
Well, the thing is yeah, I've lost my train of thought there.
Happens to
I was going to get on
us.
a rant. No, well, like, I don't understand how they try to use the wording of the Second Amendment against the Second Amendment, and it seems so ass backwards.
Well, and it seems pretty cut and dry as far as, what I read just a minute ago, and what I've learned about the amendment throughout all of my history classes and stuff. I mean, even when you look at it as a child and stuff, you're like, well, that seems to make sense. But yet, no, you can't. Not everybody's supposed to have all of these weapons and stuff. That's the thing that gets to me.
The people, the general public, should be able to possess anything that the military possesses, because the purpose of the Second Amendment is to protect a free state, the free government. From a tyrannical government. So therefore, we should be able to possess anything that they should without having to jump through 1,000 hoops.
Let's go through a little, for instance. Let's say the government gets to, we'll use Trump for example. If Trump were to become the tyrannical dictator that all the liberals made it like he was going to be.
Oh, they'd be all for gun rights.
Yeah.
Real quick.
A lot of the Antifa people are carrying around guns and stuff specifically to defend against,
They're starting their pussy militias.
Yeah, exactly. And well, the thing is they're not trained.
And don't get me wrong,
I'm not
pro-Trump.
No. But I am pro certain aspects of his presidency, but also anti certain aspects of his presidency. There's some things that I agree with, some things that I disagree with, just like probably would be the same case with Hillary or any of the other people, because sometimes they're going to make good decisions and not every decision is going to be bad. Though, all in all, no. Yeah, I
don't trust politicians.
I don't trust politicians either. That was one of the reasons I actually was kind of for Trump, and then he's kind of fallen in, promoting the DACA deal and things like that. It's
take the guns first, due process second.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Yeah, he did say that. So I've heard people say, oh, he didn't say that, or you're taking it out of context. It doesn't matter the fucking context. He still said it.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
big negative, but
there's a lot of there's a lot of anti-gun legislation trying to be pushed,
right
not just at the federal level, but at different states level. But this seems to be a pretty common theme, around the states. Not every state is trying to pass the same one, but a big common one right now is the universal background check.
Oh yeah,
a terrible idea, for a number of reasons. One, it's none of your business what I buy or what I own.
Yeah.
Two,
they're just using that to regulate it.
Oh, absolutely,
and the false terminology regulate.
Right. Yeah. Well,
trying to keep tabs on people.
And it would be completely unenforceable unless you maintain some sort of database of gun owners and what they owned. How are you going to enforce it? If there's universal background checks and I sold a gun to you, how are they going to know, that I sold that?
Background check.
Yeah, how are they going to ever know unless they have a database of who owns what? Right? Mm-hmm. And that is another problem in itself, because if we go back, if something ever did happen, and they did want to take your guns, do you really want them knowing how many you have and what you have and all of that? Absolutely not.
Especially not if it's something where Trump took over the world and was going to destroy people using the military as his backing, and now they know who has the most guns. They can go straight to those people and take all their shit immediately.
I don't think most of the military would follow that. I think a lot of
Probably
cops would.
not.
A lot of cops absolutely fucking would.
Oh, they already
think,
have.
yeah.
I mean, look at them trying to, what was it, in Massachusetts?
Oh, yeah.
Not that long ago, they killed that old man.
The red flag law.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was some bullshit.
Which is another thing we can talk about.
Yeah.
So, recently they tried passing a law in Oregon, and I believe it passed. I'm like 90% sure it passed.
Yeah.
But basically, if say you lived with say you had a girlfriend, just pretend.
Okay.
Okay, and
Pretend.
yeah, and say that you guys broke up and it was just bad. She didn't like you, right? You never did anything to her. You never hurt her. You guys just really, really did not get along. Okay. You kick her out of your house or whatever, and she could call the police and say, Mike has guns and I think he's a danger to himself. They don't have to have any proof. They could literally take her word on it, and they could come take your guns and then go through due process second. And then you would have to prove your innocence or your ability, sound mind.
Which is ass backwards in and of itself right there. That you have to prove innocence. You're innocent until proven guilty.
Oh, you would think.
You're supposed to be.
Right.
That's what the law says.
Yeah.
But apparently not now. They changed that shit.
Yeah, they call them. They're calling them red flag laws. Like, I could call the cops on you right now. I don't think in Montana. I don't think they do anything. But
no.
I'd call. Say we're in Oregon. I could call the cops and say, yeah, Mike. He's been saying some really crazy shit, and I know he has guns, and they could, in theory, go and take all of your guns, and then you would have to go jump through all the hoops to prove that that you're not crazy, or gonna hurt yourself or somebody else.
That's ridiculous that they can control it to that extent.
Well, I mean, and then they're all major to me. Like any gun law, I hate it.
Like the bump stock ban, that's the big one right now.
So
everybody's freaking out about it.
I absolutely hate bump stocks. I think they're
ridiculous.
Stupid, but they should absolutely not be banned because it's an accessory, And I've even heard pro gun people be like, "Oh, we got bump stocks aren't necessary." And I was like, "You're missing the point."
Yeah, that's another infringement, and it sets precedent that they can control anything that they deem a negative.
I've had pro gun, quote unquote pro gun, people tell me, well, the Second Amendment doesn't cover accessories. I was like, do you just hear what you just said? Okay, so you're telling me that you don't think the Second Amendment covers 90% of the shit that's on your rifle. It just covers the bolt carriers, the upper, the lower, and the barrel. Yeah. Right, that's it. So you're telling me that it doesn't cover any type of grips or sights or stocks or whatever. You think that people should just be able to have bare bones, nothing else, and I'm sure there are people who think, yeah, the anti-gun people are like, yeah, that sounds great, but it's stupid. There's the magazine size
that's
controversy.
The one
you shouldn't be able to have more than 10 rounds in a magazine.
You don't need more than that for hunting.
Right, yeah. It's
not
again,
the only
not
reason.
about hunting. But you know what? Some good news, though, actually, for Californians, surprisingly enough, is it was a case heard in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of California. It was Duncan versus Becerra. The court ruled that it is unconstitutional for California to have a 10-round magazine limit.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So they can actually, as right now, Californians can have, 30 plus.
High capacity.
No, regular capacity, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 30 is not a high capacity.
No.
30
is standard for
right.
ARs and stuff.
Right, exactly. So in California right now, you know what? I really hope that makes it to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And it will. It'll absolutely make it to the Supreme Court, and I hope there's a ruling on that, because then that would just shut all that down across all the states.
Thank God. We need to snuff out some of these.
California, though, they also have a law to where you can't have detachable magazines.
What?
It's called. They call the rifles. If you were to go to California and buy an AR, and there you have to go through the waiting period and all this stuff. Let's say you pick one up, right? You buy an AR. It has what's called a bullet button, and a lot of people mistake what that is. Like the anti-gun people don't actually know what it is, but it's a button that's on the magazine release, and you actually have to have it's like a really small fine point to. You have to push it, I guess, to get the magazine to release. Yeah, it's so stupid, and I think it's even more extreme now. I could be wrong. I don't know very much about the whole bullet button thing, but I know even some of them you can't even. The magazine has to be like affixed to it. Like you have to.
Like a bolt action type thing.
No, like
something.
You can still have a magazine in there, but you can't have like detachable ones. Like it has to be like affixed to the rifle. You have to basically disassemble the rifle to put a new magazine in. It's stupid.
Wow,
yeah,
that is ridiculous.
I've seen it before. You can't have like pistol grips. They have the California stocks. Have you seen those?
No.
They're like weird curved. They're not pistol grip stocks. They're like a weird curved one, and it's like not ergonomic at all.
Oh, lame. I mean, they're just blocking firearm innovation. That's all they're doing.
Oh yeah. Okay, so here it is. We have it pulled up. So why don't you describe this for everybody right there? Like, isn't that just ridiculous? Yeah.
That's the new.
It's not really new.
You can't have a pistol.
You can't have a pistol grip. You can't have the space to like wrap your whole hand around the pistol grip. Like, look at this AK. Like, it's like where the pistol grip would be. They have like this weird little.
It's like a blocker.
It's like a block, like where the back of your hand would go. Like, it's so stupid.
I wonder what their reasoning for that is.
Because they think it's scary to have a pistol grip because it gives you better control over the weapon.
Which, wouldn't that make it safer for the people that use weapons safely?
Yeah, you would think so, right?
It's the same thing for like, on a pistol, any weapon that's termed a pistol, you're not allowed to have a full wraparound foregrip. You can't use like a vertical wrap your hand around it foregrip.
Right.
On anything that is deemed a pistol, which is like under 16 inches.
Okay, here's what they call it. AR-15 compliance kit. They call it a safe mag. You have to take the upper off the lower, basically, to get...
to remove the magazine.
To load it, to put the bullets in the magazine.
Which is similar to like a bolt action. You have to pop that. You have to open the bolt.
Yeah.
Which on an AR, you're going to have to actually take the upper off.
Dude, it's crazy. I feel really bad for Californians, but hopefully
they have so many laws.
So many, and hopefully coming up here pretty soon. It seems to be maybe heading in the right direction with the magazine ban, and as much as I don't like necessarily conservative versus liberal arguments, I do like that there is a pro-gun majority on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So if anything does get pushed to the Supreme Court, I have a feeling that it will be ruled in our favor. But it shouldn't even have to go that far, though, to be honest.
I know. It should be already standard that these things are getting ruled against. But the good thing is that it'll set some precedents for pro-gun ownership. That'll be kind of nice.
So...
What's that other one you got on there?
So there have been a lot of businesses, mainly banks, that are refusing to open accounts for businesses that are related to any type of firearms.
Are you
like
serious?
Gun stores, gun manufacturers. There's a lot of banks that are saying, we won't let you open an account here. Right? And
God.
Well, there is a bill that is being pushed right now in the U.S. Senate. It's starting in the Senate to prohibit discrimination against firearm-related businesses, which would be good if that passed.
Yeah.
'Cause, you can't discriminate. A bank can't say, your business is run by black people or Mexicans or Jews or
At
gays or whatever, right? You can't discriminate because of that.
Yeah.
Right? It's against the law.
Yeah.
So what makes it okay for
to discriminate against gun owners?
Yeah, and the same thing happened for a lot of pot shops too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They couldn't open a lot of banks. And I think that's another issue in itself.
Yeah. Well, honestly though, from a privatization aspect, if you actually made it a private enterprise completely, I think that they should be allowed to discriminate on all those levels. But that aside, since it is the law that you cannot discriminate.
Well, all banks are FDIC insured too.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. That should not be
right.
No federal insurance on that. But since there is, at that point, you shouldn't be able to discriminate, and so there should be no discrimination against gun ownership. Should not be a factor. Just the same as if you were discriminating against black people or something. It should be the exact same equivalent.
There's a lot of states right now that are just in over their heads with anti-gun people. There are a lot of there's a lot of states that are doing a lot of good things. Idaho, one of them. Montana just shot down anti-gun law just last week. Oklahoma. It was a gun storage law, I believe.
Yeah.
Which are dumb.
There should be no regulation on.
No, somebody breaks into my house, I shouldn't have to go and open a safe and then go open a different safe where the ammo is, and all this. That's not how it works.
Kind of ruins the reasoning for having that weapon, that type of weapon.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Don't get me wrong, gun safes are great.
Yeah. They're great for keeping it out of reach of children, things like that.
I'm not saying that, but when I'm like, it should not be mandated at all, because you should be able to, keep a pistol in your nightstand or whatever it is, or on your person for that matter. But like Oklahoma just recently passed a constitutional carry, so in Oklahoma you don't even have to have a concealed handgun license anywhere in the state to carry.
Oh wow.
Idaho is the same thing.
Yeah.
There's other states that have similar. Oregon unfortunately is going in the wrong direction. Oregon is getting just hammered right now. They're trying to push every anti-gun law under the sun just because right now they have a Democrat supermajority, anti-gun supermajority over there, mainly because of Portland and Portland, Eugene, Bend, stuff like that. But
one of the most annoying things about it is we always look to like organizations like the NRA to
gonna get me started on the NRA? Are we doing that?
Oh yeah, it's happening. Don't get offended by this, or do. We don't give a shit.
Fuck the NRA.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Fuck the NRA. It's ridiculous how we look to them to protect our rights, yet they end up supporting things like the bump stock ban and shit like that. And the reason being that they're just looking for money. It's a money scheme.
So tell me how is the NRA going to make more money when there's a quote unquote gun scare, right?
Yeah.
Or are they going to, or if there's no anti-gun laws trying to be passed, everybody's happy, Second Amendment's not being violated at all, is the NRA going to be making a lot of money because people are going to be pretty content, or are they going to be making a ton of money when there's anti-gun laws being pushed and people are scared and I gotta send money to the NRA because they're fighting for our rights? No, they're fucking not. They're compromising your shit.
Yeah, they're fighting to compromise our gun rights because that's what's gonna get people into the stores, making those gun companies, funny enough, the big bucks, and that's where a huge amount of the funding for the NRA comes from. As ridiculous and scary as this might sound, I am gonna go into the CNN, their money district. I know, but the CNN did a whole bit, and a lot of it's really accurate. Some of it's not perfect, but a lot of it's really accurate on what the issues are, the money powering the NRA.
Not
a ton of it comes from donations by gun corporations.
Oh yeah, well I mean,
Ruger,
honestly that doesn't surprise
Sturm.
me too. Yeah, Smith and Wesson and Beretta.
And they've even admitted to giving mass donations to the NRA. So what do you think that they're doing behind closed doors, telling each other, well, you know what, we'll hook you up with some business by letting this one slide, blah, 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 and not really pursuing...
Oh, like the bump stock ban.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect example. So, and everybody freaked out, and gun sales went through the roof. I mean, under Obama, that's what that one guy, what is his name? The something Marshall, the Yankee Marshall, I think is what his name is.
Oh, the YouTube guy?
Yeah, the Yankee Marshall. He has a video called, expletive, Iraq veteran, TGC, and the NRA.
Which, he's not saying fuck Iraqi veterans. It's a specific person on YouTube.
Yeah,
I feel like that might have been...
Yeah, that's true.
You might need to clarify that.
Iraq veteran 88888 or whatever, TGC, and the NRA, because they're all kind of doing the same bullshit.
So here's the thing, too, though. So pretend the NRA does have gun owners' interests. Or so, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Pretend that they're not shady as fuck just for a second, for a hypothetical situation. So they are in Washington, D.C. They're lobbying for or against bills, right? They say they represent gun owners, right? So, and when people say, oh, well, the NRA is okay with it, right? That doesn't mean I am. I'm a gun owner. They say they represent gun owners. They don't represent all gun owners. They represent a paying customer.
Yes.
Right? They don't represent all gun owners, and I feel like that's a really important clarification because I'm a gun owner and they do not represent me personally. I do not give them permission to compromise my rights. I don't care what it is either. Like they're like, "Oh, we'll let this bill pass, but if you got to kill this one, fuck you, okay? That's not your decision to make on behalf of all gun owners."
No.
You can't do that. You could say on behalf of our paid clientele.
Well,
or whatever, and then that would be another thing, right? Well, I know a ton of people that donate to the NRA. Lifetime membership is like $1,000, you know. But my point is they don't represent all gun owners, and a lot of anti-gun people are like, well, the NRA does this and the NRA does that, and, or my favorite one was, even the NRA was okay with this one, and fuck that, dude. No, they don't represent me or all gun owners.
Here's a perfect example of what we're talking about. Most people live in cities, which means that a lot of them aren't going to necessarily be hunters, probably a majority of them. So if a majority of the people who are supporting the NRA hear that the NRA is going to be lax, they're not going to try and kill a bill that is banning AR-15s from being used for hunting. High-capacity magazine, 50-round drum clip. Okay, you can't use that for hunting.
Drum clip? Well, what's a drum clip?
A clip that is the circular shape that allows for a higher number of
You're killing
rounds.
me, bro.
Really?
You're killing me. It's a magazine.
Magazine.
Clip is
clip. That's what civvies use in their hair. We call this a magazine.
Yeah.
If you play Apex Legends, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's true. I know. I hate the term clip anyway because that actually has to do with stripper clips are for weapons that are actually top fed, and you strip that clip into the...
You need to...
I know, I should clarify on that. I know. It's just common terminology.
I know what you meant, but I have to give you shit for it.
Other people are stupid about it too, so I understand that one. But if they are gonna push they're not gonna try and shoot down this bill because a majority of their paying customers are like, well, I don't hunt, so I don't really care about that.
Right.
Boom! Now you're not representing all gun owners. Yeah. Because there's a lot of gun owners who are going to be really upset that they can't use their AR for hunting, especially if that's the particular gun they bought for multi-purpose.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have money to buy a hunting rifle and an AR and, a pistol for self-defense, all the shit. You're just limiting gun ownership. That's all that ends up doing.
Another point, too, is supposedly, and when I used to go and testify down in Salem and Oregon and stuff like that, we they had the NRA rep come and they'd testify and stuff. That's about all I've seen them ever do. Like you look at, like I said, my buddy Mike. I told that story earlier, right?
Yeah.
The NRA was nowhere to be found. They did not have there was not a peep on Twitter from them. There was not a word from them condemning that. No defense whatsoever, which is ridiculous. And
that's their whole point.
That's their job. They have teams of lawyers. They could have at least helped out. What can you do other than the NRA? They're usually the state-run organizations are a lot better. Like in Oregon, they have the Oregon Firearms Federation. Montana has the Montana Shooting Sports.
Lobbied on behalf of.
I helped them out. Yeah, that was fun.
That is cool. In fact, what was the one lady that you helped convert her?
Oh yeah, I don't even remember her name anymore.
Huge anti-gun lobbyist.
She was very anti-gun. She ran the Clackamas Women's Services. She went and testified at a hearing for an anti-gun law, and she actually, she was very adamantly anti-gun, and running a women's services, she should know. Especially, they need to provide that equalizer that we were talking about earlier. So I contacted her, and she was actually very willing to sit down and listen, which was really cool. And after talking for a little while, I ended up setting up a meeting with her and Kevin from Oregon Firearms Federation, the guy who runs that. And, they actually ended up providing a lot of education. And Kevin helped some women get their concealed handgun license and provided range time for them and stuff, and it was really, really cool. Montana, they have the Montana Shooting Sports Federation, which is similar to Oregon Firearms Federation. There's just state-run agencies. A lot of times those are a lot better of organizations, mainly because you actually kind of have a voice, and it's easier to keep in contact with people when it's local. If you want to go the federal route, there's organizations like the Gun Rights Coalition and NAGR, NAGR, National Association for Gun Rights. They're a pretty good one. And so there's one point that I kind of want to leave at the end of the podcast episode here, okay. And I kind of want to leave it open-ended because I honestly want feedback on it. Okay, and it's a point that I've heard several times, and is gun control racist? Think about it, right? And I'm going to read a quote from an article, and it says, after losing the Civil War, Southern states quickly adopted the Black Codes, laws designed to reestablish white supremacy by dictating what the freedmen could and couldn't do. One common provision barred blacks from possessing firearms. To enforce the gun ban, white men riding in posses began terrorizing black communities. In January 1866, Harper's Weekly reported that in Mississippi, such groups had seized every gun and pistol found in the hands of the so-called freedmen and parts of the state. The most infamous of these disarmament posses, of course, was the Ku Klux Klan.
No.
So, now here's the thing. Where are most of the heaviest gun control laws? Where are they, right?
In the cities.
Big cities, right? Chicago, D.C.
With
and
the highest
minority populations. Now think about that. I want to leave that out there and think about that. Right?
Wow. Yeah, give us some feedback. Tell us what your thoughts on that are. I mean, that's a heavy thought to leave on.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to throw out a few quick statistics that I was pulling up. One of the myths is that, concealed carry doesn't prevent that many crimes. Well, one of them, the FBI documents state that 3.2% of active shooter events were stopped by concealed carry holders, which... What about that Clackamas Town Center?
Yeah,
what was that whole shooting thing?
All right,
Wasn't that stopped by a concealed carry?
It was. Clackamas Town Center. It was in 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
One of those. But, yeah. somewhere around there. Clackamas Town Center in Oregon, Clackamas, Oregon. The guy went in there, and yeah, he was stopped because somebody had pulled out his revolver.
Wow.
I forget his name off the top of my head.
Interesting.
But,
well, and it's funny because there are actually a lot of stories out there about that. And one of the things that they don't mention with the FBI is a lot of those due to particular reasonings for the crime. There's particular reasons that they won't post certain statistics. But the actual number of concealed or crimes that were stopped by concealed carry holders were on the high end is probably around 16.5%.
Wow.
And that's with all the gun control laws in all the major cities. Most people are not concealed carry holders. How many crimes, if everybody was a concealed carry holder, how many crimes would be prevented by that? Number one.
The only way to stop a good guy or a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Well, and then you'll also have all the numbers of crimes, the decrease in crimes when you are in areas that, and you can look this one up on your own, all the crimes that are stopped prevented by just having fewer gun laws, just in general. I mean, if you take out all the major cities where all the most crimes, or where all the most concealed carry control is, all the firearms control is, if you take those out of the U.S., our gun crime statistics are
one of the lowest in the world.
Third from the lowest, yeah.
In the world, yeah.
So, and that's like next to Sri Lanka and stuff, crazy, weird countries. So, I mean, just go and do some of your own
we should
actual
have
research.
Our listener from Australia. We should have him come on and talk about the different laws there regarding guns.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
So
I'd be curious to hear his side of the story too.
His name is Daniel. I'll give him a shout out here because he was one of our first international listeners, and so I'll try to get him on.
Yo, Daniel.
His time is kind of crazy.
And if you come on, we'll get you a T-shirt. All right, bro?
Oh hell yeah, we'll get you a T-shirt, bro.
Sweet.
All right, so make sure. So I want to just touch that one thing. Is gun control racist? Think about it. Message us. I really want you to, and provide stats. If you're going to argue, I want documents.
Yeah. Email us.
Email us. Hardly
comment
Adults.
on Facebook.
HardlyAdultsPodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
We're all over Facebook. Facebook.com/HardlyAdults.
SoundCloud. You can leave comments on there.
Yep. SoundCloud.
A lot of people have. So
obviously you found our SoundCloud if you're listening.
Right. Yeah. True that. And YouTube. Comment on our YouTube page.
Definitely.
So
yes.
Let us know what you think, guys. This is Mike with Hardly Adults and Chris.
Later.
Peace.